I mean, I'm sure we could sit here and go on for like the whole day talking about the depth and scope that the problem in our education system is right now. But I want to invite you to, once again, take a look at some clips being put out from the Campaign for Nonviolent Schools, but not just for a better education, but also for a larger movement that is being built right here in the city and beyond.
We call on the school district of Philadelphia to implement the Campaign for Nonviolent Schools platform that will provide cost-saving solutions to make our schools safer without pushing students into the criminal justice system.
I'm really happy to see that there are students in our school system, there are community members, parents, and Temple students. And I want to make sure, like you do, that we continue to get the money that our children deserve. Don't they deserve it? I want to say to you that I'm a mother and I am sick and tired. I see the signs of folks building prisons instead of dorm rooms.
One Love Movement stands strong with the Campaign for Nonviolent Schools. We stand with you for our generation and the generations before us that were denied an adequate and loving education and were left to navigate a system that criminalizes young people and invests in a process of criminalizing them for life. We believe, as you do, that we are here in this world to build families and communities, not break them apart by locking people up and labeling them criminals. So yes, fund our schools, not our prisons.
Our vision of a just and nonviolent school is where students are respected, our ideas and opinions appreciated, and our voices heard and included in the decision-making process of the school.
My name's George Richeza. I'm the district leader of Local 32BJ, and I represent 3,000 members with the School District of Philadelphia, and want you to know that we support your campaign here for nonviolent schools. I got one thing to say. Shame on you, Governor Corbett. Shame on you.
And nonviolent schools are genuine community schools. They address multiple needs in students' lives. That is why Local 634 stand here today with these young people, our future. That is why we, Local 634, will continue to work with the Campaign for Nonviolent Schools to ensure that our leaders in the city and the school district support students-led solutions. And if you go to Harrisburg, we will get a bus and go with you. Local 634, unite here.
One thing we want everybody to understand is justice never happens alone. The same thing that's going on in Philadelphia is going on in Maryland. It's going on all over the United States of America. But the thing that we need to realize is we need a movement. How much money has been taken away from Philadelphia schools? A lot. A lot of money has been taken away. Well, guess what? We need a movement. In the state of Maryland, $91 million was stated to be taken away. We need a movement. We have more money going into jails than we have going into schools. We need a movement. We have more money going into a war over there in Iraq instead of going into our schools. We need a movement.
You guys are such an inspiration of what's going on in the city and just the power that's being built right here. And I was wondering if you actually could talk about some of the visions that the Campaign for Nonviolent Schools platform has for education and just exactly how the platform came about.
Well, the platform came about through students working together from all different communities, all different backgrounds, and different languages, really talking about what are the major barriers that we face as students, what's keeping us from success, what's keeping us from each other, and what's keeping us from our communities.
And so our platform that was developed by young people across 10 different organizations over the past year has 4 components: student supports and services, student voice, classroom engagement, and discipline practices. And so the platform is a vision for how we can really build nonviolent schools based around those 4 principles.
If the voices of parents, students, and educators were being heard, what would the school system look like then?
It'd be a place where students had more of a, they'd be in school and they'd be motivated to go to school and they would enjoy school because it'd be a place that was about what they mean to society, not what they mean to a test or what they mean to a prison. So,
I think we have many, great examples right now of schools in our city and of educators and students in our city that are engaging in an education that is liberatory, that does liberate. But I think that going back to the vision in the platform, it's classrooms where students are engaged, where the learning is really directed by the needs and the interests of the young people and their families. It's discipline that's restorative in nature, where it's actually an opportunity for young people to think through the consequences of actions and really help communicate and build with each other across language barriers and across neighborhood barriers, as opposed to just, like Azim said, being sort of tossed out of school. I think it's a place where schools are community schools, where there's real supports and services for young people and their families inside of the school building that's open all day and even into the evening to really provide for the whole community. And I think it's student voice. So it's the ability for young people to have a say in the decisions that affect their lives, a say in evaluating and the staff in their schools, a say in what happens in their schools, how their schools are set up. So I think that those four components are in the vision that was created by the members of the Campaign for Nonviolent Schools, and it's what we're working towards.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you could explain a little bit how parents, students, teachers, and workers are actually coming together to bring about some of these changes that you're talking about.
Well, recently we just had our, one of our recent actions, we had over 2,000 people present. That was including students, parents, and community members and workers. So that's just one example of how we're all coming together to create change in our schools.
We are really clear that we need to really build unity across all of these folks and really have a unified voice in what we're trying to achieve and what our vision is. Moving forward this summer, there's going to be more strategy among the folks who put on the citywide summit to think about how do we move this whole motion of parents, students, and educators forward to create a shared analysis and to build a shared platform across all of those groups heading into next year.
Okay, a little while ago, we talked about ways that these problems are playing out like across the country. What are ways that the Philadelphia student unions are working to implement some of these solutions on a national scale?
Well, as of now, we work with the Alliance for Educational Justice, and what the Alliance for Educational Justice is working towards is really creating a student bill of rights and things like that, that really solidifies, just gives students a better platform to organize off of and to have a voice over what happens in our schools. Because as of right now, there's nothing that guarantees students that that opportunity to speak out when they go to school in violent schools.
Right, and so through that process, we're one of the founding members of the Alliance for Educational Justice. Another founding member is also here in Philadelphia, Youth United for Change. So we're working to really have the voices of young people directly involved in the ears of the folks in DC that are making policy. And over the past couple of years, we've had some great strides in being able to do that. We were just last week in DC, and some of our members, as well as others from around the country, were meeting with Arnie Duncan and his top people to really talk and bring messages directly to him regarding how the federal government, and with the reauthorization of No Child Left Behind, should take the lead on ending the school-to-prison pipeline, should take the lead on ensuring that there's equity and funding across states and across districts, should take the lead on really listening to the voices of students and parents in how we can have community-led transformation of our schools, and also directly communicating to him and to the folks in Washington their direct experiences of some of the policies and the way that the policies have actually played out.
You know, in one of the videos, one of the clips that we just watched, I believe his name was Shaquille from the Baltimore Algebra Project. He put out this idea, this call for a movement. And from my understanding of history, successful movements have always had youth in the forefront. So could you talk about the role that PSU and the Campaign for Nonviolent Schools plays in building youth leadership in the struggle for building a better education and also for a broader social movement to end poverty?
I think what we do a really good job of right now is just identifying leadership in all young people and understanding that every young person is capable of doing something. I think right now what we're trying to do is use that ideology to combat the ideology of some young people are just useless and they don't deserve an education or they can't learn. Like that, we know from our work that that's not true.
Yeah, and I think as well, our work as the Philadelphia Student Union is the program and base building anchor for the Alliance for Educational Justice. So our work is specifically centered around helping to really build a base of young people across the country that are connected and understand what's happening at the national level. And where our work is also to build that kind of shared analysis among all of the young people. So we just came back from DC where we did a 1.5-day peer-led training for the youth from across the Alliance. And they were looking at these issues and really building with each other so that they can see themselves as not just operating in one place or one city, but as a national group of young people that's affecting change.
I can't emphasize enough how much I really admire the work that you guys are doing, just not just in Philly, but nationwide, and not just in the education sector, but for this broader social movement that needs to come around. But once again, I really can't emphasize how much I admire you guys. But right now, I want to shoot it over to our MMPTV correspondent, Ria Cruz, who's going to be talking with our audience members to get some reflections of this whole discussion that we had here today.